Forget what you think you know about ancient temples. They weren't just places of worship. What did ancient civilizations know about Venus that we've completely forgotten? This isn't just about dusty ruins and forgotten gods. This is about unlocking a secret key to your own relationships, your creative power, and your very connection to the cosmos. What if these ancient structures were designed to harness the power of Venus, not just as a planet, but as a celestial guide influencing love, harmony, and artistic inspiration? Could understanding these alignments revolutionize our lives and unlock a more balanced and fulfilling existence? Imagine civilizations aligning massive structures with the precise movements of Venus, not out of blind faith, but with a deep understanding of its energetic influence. We're talking about sites like Chichen Itza, where the pyramid casts shadows marking key Venus dates, Karnak, with its avenues aligned to specific Venus risings, and Roman temples dedicated to Venus, embodying love and beauty. They saw Venus not just as a pretty light in the sky, but as a vital force, a celestial beacon capable of influencing human affairs, with the synodic cycle, the repeating pattern of Venus, dictating temple architecture, mythological narratives, and even shaping their emotional experiences. Consider Göbekli Tepe, where the T-shaped pillars may encode astrological information, potentially marking constellations and Venus's cycles, the layout of which implies it served as an ancient observatory. Or how the Mayan civilization meticulously tracked Venus, creating calendars and rituals based on its movements, believing it influenced warfare and agriculture. And then there's the profound astrological significance Venus held in Roman culture, where it represented not only love and beauty, but also harmony and prosperity. They believed Venus's position in the sky could influence everything from personal relationships to the fate of empires. But how could a planet have such a profound effect? The ancients believed that Venus, in its journey, carried potent energy that could be harnessed for personal and collective benefit. They designed temples to act as sophisticated energy receivers and transmitters, amplifying Venus's influence to enhance fertility, promote peace, and stimulate artistic creation. Venus, appearing and disappearing like clockwork, gave birth to myths of goddesses like Ishtar, Aphrodite, and Venus, each sharing themes of love, war, beauty, and rebirth. Consider Ishtar's descent into the underworld and Aphrodite's birth from the sea foam, mirroring Venus's own cycle of appearance and disappearance from the sky. The question is, what did they understand about synchronizing with Venus that we've lost? What was this advanced technology or understanding that enabled the ancients to achieve such precision in their Venus temple alignments? What link did they observe between celestial observations and understanding agriculture, weather patterns, and natural resources? Could understanding these patterns unlock deeper insights into our relationships and creative endeavors? Understanding Venus's power holds the key to rediscovering lost knowledge, harmonizing with cosmic rhythms, and benefiting both the individual and the collective. Throughout this video, we'll explore the architecture of these temples, the astrological analysis of Venus's cycles, and the rich tapestry of mythological narratives woven around this celestial body. We'll delve into how Venus retrograde in Gemini or Sagittarius can indicate periods of intense focus on love and communication with partners, and how Venus in Leo and Capricorn are excellent times for expressing creativity and love in career. By examining these threads, we'll uncover how these ancient civilizations harnessed Venus's energy and how we can potentially do the same. Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to Venus? What secrets lie hidden within these ancient structures? Could understanding Venus's cycles transform your relationships and creative potential? Get ready to explore these enigmatic structures, gateways to a forgotten world, as we journey to understand Venus alignments. Let's dive deeper into how these stunning celestial arrangements played out in the ancient world. At Chichen Itza, during the Venus transit, the Pyramid of Kukulkan doesn't just cast any old shadow. It meticulously crafts a serpent of light that slithers down the northern staircase, aligning precisely with the sacred cenote, marking critical dates in the Mayan calendar related to Venus's cycles of death and rebirth. This wasn't a symbolic gesture, it was a precise astronomical calculation etched in stone. Picture this. On specific dates, windows in the vast Karnak temple complex frame the rising and setting points of Venus with laser-like accuracy, illuminating specific statues or chambers dedicated to deities associated with love, war, and fertility. This convergence wasn't a coincidence. It was a deliberate attempt to capture and amplify the perceived power of Venus. And in Rome, temples dedicated to Venus weren't just places of worship. They were meticulously positioned to align with the planet's movements, acting as conduits for her celestial gifts. These alignments speak of an understanding far beyond simple observation. But were these civilizations merely stargazers, or were they onto something more profound? What if these alignments were designed not just to observe Venus, but to actively harness its power, to tap into a cosmic source of creation and transformation? Is it possible these structures acted as sophisticated resonators, capable of focusing and amplifying subtle energy fields? Consider the materials used. Quartz, granite, and other crystalline substances abound in these structures. Could these materials have been chosen for their piezoelectric properties, generating electrical charges when subjected to pressure or vibration? For example, consider the massive granite blocks used in Karnak. Could the rhythmic chanting and movements of priests have created subtle vibrations, generating piezoelectricity within the granite, thereby amplifying the temple's energetic field during Venus alignments? This idea, while speculative, opens a fascinating window into a potential understanding of how these civilizations interacted with the cosmos on a far more profound level. Of course, this is a hypothesis, and further research is crucial to validate it fully. How could they have known so much? Now, let's consider how Venus, the celestial ambassador of love, might have directly impacted their relationships. If you've ever had your birth chart read, you know that Venus placement can reveal the nature of your intimate connections. For instance, a Venus in Taurus might crave stability and sensuality in relationships, while a Venus in Gemini might seek intellectual stimulation and variety. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're blueprints for how we navigate the complexities of love and desire. Furthermore, Venus transits when Venus passes through certain points in the sky can act as triggers for relationship milestones. Imagine Venus transiting your 7th house of partnerships, potentially signaling new beginnings, deepening commitments, or even necessary endings. These transits are not just cosmic events, they're invitations to examine our hearts and realign our relationships with our deepest desires. But the impact doesn't stop at love. Venus is also a muse of artistic expression. The ancients may have timed their creative pursuits with specific Venus cycles, knowing instinctively that these periods were ripe with inspiration. Perhaps the construction of a grand temple was initiated when Venus was in a favorable alignment, or a new artistic movement was born under a potent Venus transit. Take Venus conjunct Neptune, for example. This is a powerful aspect that can unlock visionary experiences and artistic inspiration. It's been suggested that many artists and musicians throughout history have experienced heightened creativity and profound inspiration during this celestial event, producing works of art that resonate with ethereal beauty and transcendent emotion. Still, there's more than one way to look at this. Some researchers believe these temple arrangements were primarily religious or symbolic gestures. The serpent shadow at Chichen Itza, for instance, might be interpreted as a representation of the feathered serpent god Kukulkan, a powerful deity in Mayan cosmology. The problem is that this explanation seems inadequate given the precision of these celestial arrangements. Why dedicate so much time, energy, and resources to these locations if the intention was purely symbolic? Isn't it more likely that there was a dual purpose, that both practical and spiritual intentions were intertwined? The more we learn, the more questions emerge. We know that past civilizations were skilled astronomers, but they lacked our modern scientific understanding of electromagnetism and subtle power dynamics. How did they understand these principles without our technology? Did they rely on advanced intuition, direct perception, or perhaps even advanced technology lost to time? Is it possible they were more attuned to the subtle rhythms of the cosmos, able to perceive and interact with energies that we can only begin to comprehend? It's also important to remember that Venus isn't always sunshine and roses. Just as love can bring joy, it can also bring pain, obsession, and jealousy. Relationships can be a source of conflict, and Venus's harmonic resonance isn't always positive. Consider the mythological narratives, like the rivalry between Venus and other goddesses, reflecting the darker aspects of desire and competition. The point is, Venus's power, like any power, can be used for good or ill, depending on our intentions and our level of awareness. This brings us to the ultimate mystery. Could those in the past have harnessed Venus's influence in ways we can scarcely imagine? And what are the ethical considerations of rediscovering and applying this knowledge? Could we be opening a Pandora's box of unforeseen consequences? One key to unlocking the secrets may lie in the temple's geometry itself. The pentagon, a recurring shape in temple architecture, is intimately linked to the Venus star point, marking its cyclical appearances and disappearances. These shapes aren't just decorative, they encode the very mathematical structure of Venus's orbit. Furthermore, the spiral patterns found in many locations might represent the cyclical nature of Venus's movements and its impact on human life. Visualize it, these forms are not arbitrary, they're a visual representation of a celestial dance, a language of the cosmos etched in stone. As above, so below, this echoes in our emotional lives as well. Venus's astrological cycles correlate directly to our own experiences. Venus retrograde, for example, isn't just a time for tech malfunctions. It's a period for introspection and recalibration in relationships, a chance to reevaluate our needs and desires. And Venus transits can trigger periods of heightened creativity, as if the planet is whispering inspiration into our ears. If you have a creative block, pay attention to where Venus is in the sky. It might hold the key to unlocking your artistic potential. The stories we tell also hold power. The goddess of love and beauty, a common figure in Venus-related myths, reflects our inherent yearning for connection and harmony, and the archetype of the morning-evening star mirrors the cyclical nature of love and relationships, with periods of intimacy and separation. We can look to the Ishtar myth, in particular, for clues. By recognizing these themes in our lives, we can gain insights into our own emotional patterns and relationship dynamics. The amazing thing is that these aren't separate strands. Temple architecture, astrological cycles, and mythological narratives are deeply interwoven, forming a holistic understanding of Venus's influence. It's as if the ancients understood that these different areas of knowledge offered complementary perspectives on the same underlying reality, integrating them into their lives to create harmony with the cosmos. And how does it all connect? The historical reverence for Venus and its astrological significance go hand in hand. Cultures associated Venus with fertility, beauty, and love, and integrated this into how it influences life events. The physical arrangements of temples and the potential energetic effects bridge together, too, with the possibility for resonance or amplification of electromagnetic fields. We also see connections with mythological narratives and personal experiences. Reflecting on your relationships through myths gives insights into patterns and dynamics. All of this theoretical knowledge has practical applications, too. Try visualizing yourself bathed in Venus's light or setting intentions for relationships, and continue exploring this topic for more knowledge. In our next video, we'll dive even deeper into Venus retrograde. What hidden potential can be unlocked during these periods? Also, there's much more to explore. What evidence exists for the energetic effects of Venus arrangements? Are there examples of individuals who have experienced positive changes in their lives after aligning with Venus's influence? As we continue to explore the layers of understanding, remember the importance of aligning with natural rhythms, honoring relationships, and expressing creativity. There are even deeper levels of meaning and connection to be discovered. What will you explore next? But the story doesn't end with temples merely harnessing the bright, beautiful aspects of Venus. What if those celestial arrangements also served as warnings, as predictors of periods our ancestors called divine chaos? Imagine these temples not just as energy receivers, but as sophisticated calendars, marking dates when societal upheaval, environmental shifts, and intense transformation were most likely to occur. Are you ready to handle that? This isn't just about love and beauty. It's about understanding how cycles of destruction and rebirth are woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. Divine chaos isn't just random destruction, it's the necessary prelude to creation, the tearing down of old structures to make way for the new. Think of it as a cosmic reset button, a period of intense change that, while often disruptive, ultimately leads to growth and evolution. What if the ancients understood this dynamic, recognizing that these periods of chaos, triggered by specific Venus alignments, were essential for societal renewal? For example, some researchers link specific dates in the Mayan calendar, meticulously tracking Venus's cycles, with known periods of drought, famine, and social unrest in the Mayan world. This doesn't prove causation, of course, but the temporal correlation is undeniable and begs the question, were they prepared? Were they able to navigate through it using the calendar and temples? To truly understand the potential of these temples, you have to know about the Venus sequence. What if I told you that the ancients cracked the code, and this code was implemented in the designs of the temples? The Venus sequence is a mathematical observation based on the planet's synodic period, the time it takes for Venus to return to the same position relative to the Earth and the Sun. This cycle, approximately 584 days, isn't just a random number. It's part of a repeating sequence that was potentially encoded in temple architecture and mythology, a series of mathematical ratios and proportions reflecting the underlying harmony of the cosmos. Consider the mathematics embedded within the Venus sequence itself. Ratios close to the golden ratio or mirroring the Fibonacci sequence appear again and again. The temples may be more than just monuments. They can be a language. Could the number of steps on a pyramid or the dimensions of a chamber correspond to specific numbers within the Venus sequence, acting as a visual representation of Venus's cyclical movements? It's more than coincidence. It's a cosmic architecture. Now, imagine this. The golden ratio, that ubiquitous proportion found in art, architecture, and nature, isn't just a human invention. It's a fundamental principle of harmony and beauty that resonates with Venus's cycles. The golden ratio, appearing in the proportions of temple structures and in artistic motifs related to Venus, suggests that the ancients may have understood how to use these proportions to create spaces that vibrated with Venus's energy. Spaces that created a sense of awe and interconnectedness. A space that brought the people together during chaotic times to remind them of order. Given that these are potential predictors of chaos, were these temples then designed to transfer information about these times to the people? What if the temples, mythology, and astrology all acted as conduits for information about a specific date or period in time related to Venus's cycle? Imagine these structures as ancient supercomputers, processing and transmitting data about celestial events and their potential impact on human affairs. If the ancients knew of times where chaos would happen, they could prepare the people. This information passing is even more important when you consider the very real potential for chaos. This isn't a far-fetched idea. It's a recognition that ancient cultures possessed a profound understanding of the cosmos and its influence on our lives, and that they went to great lengths to preserve and transmit this knowledge to future generations. But here's where it gets even more interesting. What if the intention was not merely to predict, but to actively manage those chaotic periods? Could these temples have been designed to facilitate what we might call controlled chaos, mitigating the negative effects of these cycles and channeling their energy in a constructive way. Imagine specific rituals or practices performed at the temples during these times, offerings, dances, or other symbolic actions designed to appease the forces of chaos or channel their energy toward positive outcomes. Were they trying to control chaos or make use of it? How could the ancients know enough to even try? Here's the unsettling truth. Our modern disconnection from these cycles may be contributing to the very crises we face today. By ignoring the wisdom of the ancients, have we lost our ability to anticipate and prepare for these periods of chaos, leaving us vulnerable to their destructive effects? Could our societal instability, environmental degradation, and other global challenges be linked to our ignorance of Venus's cycles and their potential for upheaval? What could we do to change? Are these cycles inevitable? The price of ignoring celestial cycles might be steeper than we think. Consider this. Throughout history, warnings of impending events, from economic downturns to natural disasters, have often been ignored, leading to widespread suffering and devastation. Are we destined to repeat the mistakes of the past, blindly stumbling into crises that could have been avoided? Or can we learn from the wisdom of the ancients and develop a more proactive and informed approach to navigating these cycles? But with this knowledge comes a new set of ethical considerations. If Venus cycles are indeed connected with societal instability and unrest, could this knowledge be misused for control or manipulation? If those in power understood how to trigger or exploit these cycles, could they use this knowledge to maintain their dominance or advance their own agendas? The responsibility lies with us to use it ethically. This is not a toy, but rather a key to the universe. Consider the patterns in nature, those repeating cycles of chaos and order that govern everything from weather patterns to ecosystems. Fractals, those infinitely repeating patterns, offer a visual representation of this dynamic, demonstrating how seemingly random or chaotic events often follow underlying structures that can be understood and predicted. The branching of a tree, the formation of a snowflake, the swirling of a hurricane all exhibit fractal patterns that reflect the inherent order within chaos. And what if our own emotional states mirror these patterns, fluctuating between periods of stability and upheaval, reflecting the larger cycles of the cosmos? What if these celestial patterns were also reflected within us? Perhaps the most compelling evidence for this understanding comes from the Mayan long count calendar, a sophisticated system designed to track not just time, but also the potential for societal transformation. The end of the Mayan long count cycle in 2012 was widely interpreted as a time of great change and renewal. Was this merely a symbolic date, or did the Mayans possess a deeper understanding of how to align their society with these cycles to create a more harmonious and sustainable way of life? What if the ancients knew more than we do today? Throughout history, recurring societal patterns seem to coincide with significant points in Venus's cycle. Economic booms and busts, social and political revolutions, even periods of artistic and intellectual flourishing appear to align with specific Venus transits. Is this mere coincidence, or is there a deeper connection between celestial events and human affairs? By recognizing these patterns, are we able to gain a roadmap for navigating future societal changes, whether positive or negative? What will you do with this map? How will you navigate? The brilliance of the ancients may be a gift for modern times. Modern scientific theories, such as chaos theory, complexity science, and systems thinking, provide a new framework for understanding the wisdom of the ancients. Chaos theory helps us understand the unpredictable nature of Venus's influence and the potential for sudden shifts and transformations. The temples, mythology, and astrology all acted as conduits for information about a specific date or period in time related to the Venus cycle. What if the ancients knew how to predict the future using Venus? Think of the power of writing down discoveries. Oral traditions can fade, information gets lost. But what if writing things down, like what they did on the walls of the temples, was the key to everything? This would be a way of passing it on. What if Venus offers a unique perspective on the future, and ancient cultures knew it. Now, let's make this personal. Aligning with the Venus sequence can lead to both personal and societal transformation, revealing hidden patterns and unlocking new potential. By understanding and embracing the cyclical nature of life, you can navigate challenges with greater resilience and wisdom, seeing periods of chaos as opportunities for growth, renewal, and self-discovery. It's time to take responsibility. Align with your inner self. The temples were built for those people to find knowledge for themselves. What are you going to do now that you know? Were they trying to tell us something? What if major historical events, such as wars, plagues, or technological breakthroughs, are connected to Venus alignments? Could a coming Venus event trigger significant societal change? Only time will tell. I'm curious, have you witnessed any divine chaos occur? What happened? Perhaps, understanding the patterns associated with Venus can provide insights into these events and potentially help us to avoid repeating past mistakes. How do you feel about it? What do you think? With the different layers of knowledge presented, you are ready to integrate this knowledge into your lives. This could be through aligning with natural rhythms, honoring relationships, or expressing your creativity. This will allow for personal transformation and collective harmony through understanding Venus alignments. It may seem like the knowledge is over, but actually, there are even deeper levels of meaning and connection to be discovered by continuing this research. And I challenge you to continue exploring the mysteries of Venus and to share your own insights and experiences in the comments below. We read them. In the next section, we're going to take a deep dive into the practical applications of this knowledge. Are you ready to learn how to harness Venus's energy for personal growth and transformation? It's time to unlock your potential and step into a new era of understanding. So the temples stand as testaments to our ancestors, and they are speaking to us now. But what does all of this mean for you, for your life right now? The ancients didn't just build temples and track cycles for academic reasons. They integrated the concept of divine chaos into their daily lives. What was the goal? They sought to prepare for inevitable periods of instability, a stark contrast to our modern pursuit of constant comfort and control. Imagine, for a moment, the life of an ancient farmer. Their existence was intimately tied to the seasons, to the unpredictable whims of nature. They understood that periods of drought, flood, or pestilence were inevitable parts of the cycle. How did they respond? Did they panic and despair? Some may have, but many developed sophisticated practices and rituals to prepare for these times. They might have engaged in fasting or communal gatherings to strengthen social bonds and conserve resources. They may have carefully observed animal behavior or cloud formations to anticipate changes in the weather. They understood that chaos was not something to be feared, but something to be anticipated and navigated. The very real potential for chaos was ever present in their lives. For example, before planting season, they had rituals to honor the deities, asking for a successful planting season. Now, contrast this with our modern approach. When faced with a problem, we often seek to impose control, to engineer a solution that eliminates uncertainty. We build dams to control rivers, develop pesticides to eliminate pests, and create complex financial instruments to manage risk. But what happens when these systems fail? What happens when the dam breaks, the pesticides create resistant pests, or the financial instruments collapse? We are often left even more vulnerable than before, precisely because we have lost our connection to the natural cycles and our ability to adapt to change. The ancient strategies were to integrate the chaos-order dynamic into life and maintaining balance. This is in contrast with our new strategies, but the wisdom of the ancients goes beyond mere practical skills. Many myths associated with Venus can be reinterpreted as symbolic representations of these cycles of chaos and order, offering a deeper understanding of their meaning and relevance. Are you ready to discover the real meaning? This isn't just about stories, it's about unlocking ancient knowledge. Take, for example, the myth of Ishtar's descent into the underworld. Ishtar, the Babylonian goddess of love, beauty, and war, descends into the realm of the dead, stripping off an article of clothing at each of the 7 gates. This journey can be seen as a metaphor for the cyclical nature of death and rebirth, a symbolic representation of the chaos and transformation that is necessary for growth. In Ishtar's time in the underworld, the world above suffered and chaos happened. But when she returned, she had transformed and helped usher in a time of order. Consider Venus as both a goddess of love and a bringer of war, may embody the dual nature of chaos and order. Aphrodite, Venus's Greek counterpart, was not merely a goddess of beauty and desire. She was also associated with conflict and strife. This seemingly contradictory nature reflects the understanding that love and beauty can often be intertwined with passion, jealousy, and betrayal, mirroring the chaotic aspects of human relationships. Even now, the term War of the Roses reflects this aspect. The ancients understood the importance of both chaos and order. Understanding that one cannot exist without the other, cultures aligned with Venus and chaos often had more fluid social hierarchies, recognizing that rigid structures could stifle creativity and adaptability. A system of chaos needs fluidity. Imagine a society where social roles and responsibilities were not fixed, but rather shifted according to individual skills and needs. In times of crisis, those with the greatest expertise or leadership abilities would naturally rise to the forefront, guiding the community through the storm. In times of peace and prosperity, individuals would be free to pursue their passions and contribute to society in a variety of ways. This fluidity allowed for greater resilience and innovation, as the community could quickly adapt to changing circumstances. How could we use this system today? In contrast, the modern world emphasizes rigidity, seeking to impose order and control on every aspect of life. But what if we embrace change, recognizing that it is an inevitable and necessary part of the human experience? Even the nature of time itself was viewed differently. Time was seen as a fluid, cyclical phenomenon rather than a linear progression. Remember Kairos versus Chronos? Chronos is the quantitative, sequential time that we measure with clocks and calendars. Kairos, on the other hand, is qualitative, experiential time, the opportune moment, the right time for something to happen. The ancients placed themselves within time rather than measuring time, attuning themselves to the natural rhythms of the cosmos. The Mayan long count is a great example of this. How could we be disconnected from this? How could we get back? The modern world has become dangerously disconnected from nature, insulated from its cycles by technology and artificial environments. We live in climate-controlled homes, eat food that is shipped from thousands of miles away, and spend our days staring at screens, oblivious to the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. This disconnection has dulled our senses and diminished our ability to perceive the subtle signs of change, leaving us vulnerable to the effects of chaos. Ancient people were highly skilled pattern recognition experts. What have we become? The pursuit of constant stability has blinded us to the next inevitable wave of change. Have we become too comfortable? Are we ignoring the warning signs? This complacency influences both society and individual actions. We see it in our reluctance to address climate change, our dependence on unsustainable economic models, and our unwillingness to challenge entrenched power structures. The risks associated with ignoring these warning signs are immense. Consider the complacency of the modern world versus the anxiety of ancient people who were exposed to the elements and nature every day. Ancient people had a very real fear of the changing seasons. In contrast, we can buy food at any time of the year and control the temperature inside our homes. But here's where the ethical concerns deepen. What if this knowledge of cycles is misinterpreted or used to control and manipulate populations? What if the divine chaos concept is twisted to justify oppression and exploitation? This is not out of the realm of possibility. This very well may have been what happened to Atlantis and Lemuria. We must ask ourselves, what is the responsibility that comes with understanding these cycles, and what are the potential abuses? We also have to differentiate between personal and collective experiences of chaos. While personal chaos can be transformative, leading to growth and self-discovery, Collective chaos can be destructive if not properly managed. How do we know how to manage it? Ancient cultures attempted to channel personal chaos through rituals, ceremonies, and other practices that promoted social cohesion. Shamans and healers often played a crucial role in helping individuals navigate these periods, providing guidance, support, and tools for transformation. These actions were taken to mitigate societal destabilization. The importance of individual responsibility in navigating both personal and collective chaos cannot be overstated. What's our responsibility today? The modern society's disconnection from nature and celestial rhythms has made us more vulnerable to the effects of these cycles. Are we more susceptible to chaos now than ever before? The lack of celestial observation in modern society has created a blindness to potential warnings. The use of technology has further disconnected people. What's next? So, where do we go from here? Celestial events, particularly those involving Venus, serve as triggers for societal and personal transformations. What does this imply for 2027, when Venus will be very bright in the sky? Can modern people track these dates and do something with it, or is ignorance bliss? Throughout history, we can see repeating crises. Think about economic collapses, pandemics, and wars. These are connected to recurring patterns in Venus's cycle. Are we able to connect the dots? What could we do with the answers? If history repeats, what does this imply for our future? Are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past, or can we learn from these patterns and create a more harmonious future? Consider cultural adaptations throughout history that seem to coincide with the Venus cycle and the divine chaos. Different civilizations have responded to these periods of change in unique and creative ways. Did they know about Venus? What about the people from Easter Island? Does civilization always fall, or is that a modern perspective? Regardless, pattern recognition is a critical skill for navigating an increasingly complex and unpredictable world. This is key for embracing both chaos and order. You have to be prepared for both. By developing your own pattern recognition abilities through observation, meditation, and reflection, you can empower yourselves to make more informed decisions and live more fulfilling lives. The ability to recognize patterns can empower individuals to make more informed decisions and live more fulfilling lives. This is the process for becoming more resilient. Now, let's connect the dots. How do interpretations of mythological narratives and the value of cyclical time combine to offer profound insights into navigating chaotic times? The ancients may have understood how to use myths to encode knowledge about these cycles and pass it down through generations. By understanding these narratives, we can gain insights into our own emotional patterns and relationship dynamics, building resilience and adaptation skills. Consider how ancient societies prepared for and dealt with periods of volatility, and how this mirrors current societal frailties. Reliance on technology and global supply chains have made the modern world extremely vulnerable. We need to localize and return to more traditional practices. These cycles of chaos are also opportunities for personal evolution. By seeking balance in your lives, setting goals, and finding your internal point of balance, you can transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Remember, awareness empowers well-informed choices during flux. Chaotic times are not to be feared. The knowledge empowers. Prepare for change and prepare for the future. I'm excited for you. In the next section, we're going to explore the direct link between Venus and human consciousness, offering transformative implications. You will soon learn how Venus influences thoughts, emotions, and behaviors on a subconscious level. This knowledge could revolutionize our understanding of the human mind and its connection to the cosmos. I challenge you to research historical accounts that support the chaos-order dynamic and reveal the influence of Venus. And then, come back here and share your thoughts and discoveries. What is the relationship between the different levels of understanding we've presented so far? Think about the temple alignments, energetic effects, mythological narratives, and societal cycles. Can you integrate this knowledge? Now, I challenge you to recognize a pattern that is emerging right now. What upcoming transition and opportunity do you see on the horizon? What do you think? So, if ancient temples aligned with Venus acted as energy receivers, the question becomes, what exactly were they receiving, and how did it impact those within their sphere of influence? The answer lies in the profound connection between Venus and human consciousness. This isn't just about abstract astrological concepts. This is about real, tangible effects on your thoughts, your emotions, your very being. Have you ever wondered why certain pieces of music move you to tears, or why you feel inexplicably drawn to certain people? Venus may hold the key. Are you ready to understand how? Imagine Venus acting as a celestial tuning fork, emitting frequencies that resonate with specific areas of the human brain. Consider the possibility that these frequencies can entrain our brainwaves, gently guiding them into states that promote creativity, empathy, and connection. The human body is an antenna, constantly receiving and transmitting electromagnetic information. Research has shown that even subtle changes in the Earth's magnetic field can affect our mood, sleep patterns, and cognitive function. Is it such a leap to suggest that the electromagnetic emanations of Venus, amplified by these ancient temples, could have a similar, if more profound, effect? Is this the secret the ancients understood? Think about the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, and the hypothalamus, which regulates hormones and bodily rhythms. These regions are highly sensitive to external stimuli and could potentially be influenced by Venus's energetic signature. Furthermore, studies have shown a correlation between serotonin and dopamine levels, neurotransmitters associated with pleasure, motivation, and social bonding, and certain planetary alignments. Is it possible that Venus, the planet of love and beauty, plays a direct role in modulating these neurochemical processes? Do the mysteries of the mind connect with the movements of the planets? This leads us to the concept of Venus resonance. Imagine aligning your personal energy field with the cycles of Venus, like tuning an instrument to a specific frequency. When you achieve this resonance, you amplify your creative potential, enhance your intuition, and attract beneficial opportunities into your life. This isn't about passively waiting for good things to happen. This is about actively harmonizing with the cosmos, becoming a conscious co-creator of your reality. Does that sound like a power you wish to wield? But how does one achieve this Venus resonance? It begins with understanding your own unique Venus blueprint, derived from your birth chart. Your Venus sign, its aspects to other planets, and its placement in a specific house all provide clues about your relationship patterns, creative gifts, and spiritual path. Think of it as a cosmic roadmap, guiding you towards greater self-understanding and fulfillment. For example, a Venus in Taurus might indicate a strong connection to the natural world and a talent for creating beauty through tangible forms, while a Venus in Scorpio might suggest a deep understanding of emotional intensity and a gift for transformative relationships. Is your birth chart the key to unlocking your potential? Furthermore, consider Venus's harmonic qualities. Venus creates an environment of equilibrium, and it's known for psychological balance. This is reflected in its astrological influence, which emphasizes harmony, cooperation, and aesthetic appreciation. These qualities make it a powerful influence for promoting mental well-being and emotional stability. However, with this knowledge comes a great burden of responsibility. Are you prepared to take it on? Now, let's consider some practical examples. Think about a time when you felt particularly inspired or creatively charged. Perhaps you were falling in love, embarking on a new artistic project, or simply spending time in nature. Now, look back at the astrological transits for that period. Was Venus in a favorable alignment with your natal chart? Was it transiting a significant house or making a harmonious aspect to another planet? You might be surprised to find a correlation. The patterns of love and beauty are often linked to Venus. How might that change the way you look at your relationships? How might that change the way you interact with the world around you? Reinterpreting personal experiences through the lens of Venus can provide profound insights. Let's say you experienced a challenging breakup during a Venus retrograde. Instead of viewing it as a failure, you might recognize it as a necessary period of reflection and recalibration, a time to reassess your values and redefine your needs in relationships. Or perhaps a creative project stalled during a Venus retrograde. Instead of giving up, you might understand it as an invitation to revisit your original vision, refine your techniques, and approach your work with fresh eyes. It all comes down to understanding patterns. What if all the answers were there, right in front of you, but with this knowledge comes a crucial question. If Venus's cycles directly influence human consciousness, does that mean we are merely puppets of the planets, our lives predetermined by celestial forces? Or do we retain our free will, our ability to choose our own path, even in the face of cosmic influences? This is a profound ethical dilemma. Does understanding the influence of Venus cycles on human behavior help us to resist manipulation? The answer, I believe, lies in awareness. By understanding how these cycles affect us, we can become more conscious of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and make more informed choices. And there are risks. What are the risks of misusing this knowledge to control or influence others? Imagine a world where this knowledge was widespread, where everyone understood the influence of Venus on their lives. What would a world like that look like? Would it be a more harmonious and compassionate place, where people were more attuned to their emotions and more connected to one another? Or would it be a world rife with manipulation and control, where those in power used their understanding of Venus to exploit and dominate others? Could this information be weaponized? This leads us to the concept of a Venus awakening, a potential shift in collective consciousness triggered by a specific Venus alignment. This awakening could lead to increased awareness, empathy, and compassion on a global scale. What could this mean for society as a whole? Consider the implications for technology and government. Would we see a rise in collaborative technologies that foster connection and understanding? Or would we see governments using this knowledge to control and manipulate their citizens? Which path are we on now? It's also important to acknowledge that there would likely be resistance to this knowledge from those who benefit from maintaining the status quo. Those who profit from division, fear, and control would likely see the Venus awakening as a threat to their power. Who would want to suppress this knowledge? Why would this knowledge be considered dangerous? What are the possible ramifications for established institutions? The key is to use this knowledge responsibly and ethically. We must promote critical thinking, discernment, and respect for individual autonomy. If this knowledge is powerful, what are the safeguards? How can we ensure it is used for good? How can we promote responsible use and prevent misuse? Throughout history, specific Venus alignments, e.g., conjunctions, oppositions, squares, have coincided with periods of heightened creativity and artistic expression. What common patterns are there? Do any modern artists embrace this phenomenon? Think about the Renaissance, a period of unprecedented artistic and intellectual flourishing. Was this a mere coincidence, or was it influenced by a specific Venus alignment? Is the alignment with Venus a key to accessing creative genius? Furthermore, Venus cycles have been linked to recurring patterns of spiritual awakening and transformation. Can this be used to deepen spiritual practices? Can this provide deeper connections to the divine? How can this be incorporated into daily life? Consider the lives of mystics, saints, and spiritual teachers who have experienced profound shifts in consciousness. Did these shifts coincide with specific Venus alignments? Even more broadly, specific Venus alignments have been associated with periods of societal transformation and upheaval. If history is cyclical, what does this imply? Could we see a similar pattern emerging today? How could we harness this energy for good? Think about the French Revolution, the Civil Rights Movement, and other periods of social and political unrest. Were these events triggered by specific Venus alignments? Ultimately, Venus serves as a celestial guide, offering wisdom, inspiration, and opportunities for growth. Remember all connections to previous discussions of chaos and order. It's up to us to align with its cycles and honor its influence in our lives. Emphasize the potential for those who are tuned in to succeed. It all begins with understanding your individual path and agency. You have the ability to change. Remember, the macrocosm and the microcosm are interconnected. The patterns observed in the cosmos are reflected in our individual lives. Are you ready to become more attuned to this? Are you ready to see yourself as part of a larger cosmic web of relationships and connections? The ancients may have used specific practices or technologies to amplify Venus's influence and enhance their connection to the cosmos. What might those practices have been? How can we adapt them to our modern lives? Experiment with different techniques and find what works best for you. And never forget the power of myth. Mythological archetypes can provide a framework for understanding our own emotional patterns and relationship dynamics. Can we see ourselves as characters in our own mythological journey, navigating challenges and opportunities with courage and wisdom? Ultimately, it all comes down to actionable empowerment. Become more responsible and ethical in behavior, because the cycles are always moving forward and you must embrace the patterns. In the next section, we'll delve into practical techniques for aligning with Venus, building stronger relationships, and unleashing your creative potential. You won't want to miss it. And now I challenge you to explore power dynamics from the perspective of Venus. Explore whether world leaders take advantage of these cycles. What do you see? Think about the different levels of understanding we've presented so far. Cycles, mythology, personal change, societal impact. Can you synthesize this knowledge? It's a puzzle, and you hold the key. I have one final, crucial challenge for you. Are the elite tracking these cycles? What can this imply for the future? Why is this knowledge so important? Ponder this, and prepare yourselves, because the rabbit hole goes much, much deeper. But what specific, measurable effects does Venus have on the human brain? Let's move beyond the abstract and explore the neurobiological mechanisms at play. Imagine that the temples were not simply beautiful structures, but precision instruments designed to focus and amplify subtle energies. They acted as resonant chambers, interacting with human consciousness on a neurological level. Are you beginning to see how the mystical can meet the scientific? What if the ancients knew more about this than we give them credit for? Consider the research on the human body's response to electromagnetic fields. Studies have shown that exposure to certain frequencies can influence brainwave activity, hormone release, and even cellular function. What if specific Venus alignments generated electromagnetic frequencies that resonated with the human nervous system, promoting relaxation, creativity, or empathy? For example, it's conceivable that a strong Venus-Jupiter conjunction could trigger the release of oxytocin, the love hormone, fostering feelings of connection and social bonding. Conversely, a challenging Venus-Saturn aspect might increase cortisol levels, leading to stress and emotional withdrawal. Can you envision a future where we can predict emotional climates based on planetary alignments? Think about the potential link between dopamine and serotonin, those critical neurotransmitters, and celestial movements. Is it possible that Venus cycles subtly modulate their production and reception? Perhaps Venus in Taurus, associated with sensory pleasure, might enhance the effects of dopamine, making us more receptive to beauty, art, and physical affection. Or maybe Venus in Virgo, known for its analytical nature, could influence serotonin pathways, promoting mental clarity and a sense of well-being. If the celestial dance can influence our brain's chemistry, how much control do we truly have? Now, let's consider the possibility that ancient cultures possessed technologies or practices that amplified Venus's effects. Could they have used sound frequencies to induce altered states of consciousness, promoting healing or enhancing creativity? Archaeoacoustics, the study of sound in ancient sites, has revealed that many temples and sacred spaces were designed with specific acoustic properties. What if these properties were intentionally engineered to resonate with Venus's energetic signature? Could sound have been the ancients' hidden technology? Consider geometric resonators. Were pyramids, pentagons, and other sacred shapes designed to focus or amplify electromagnetic fields? The Venus star, a pentagram, was a potent symbol to many ancient cultures. Perhaps they understood that this shape possessed unique energetic properties. Could the shape of a building amplify subtle energies? Does that resonate with you? And what about meditation techniques? Could ancient practices of mindfulness and contemplation have been used to align individual consciousness with Venus cycles? Perhaps these techniques were designed to quiet the mind, open the heart, and create a state of resonance with the cosmos. If we can change our brainwave state through meditation, can we achieve true Venus resonance? What if the key to unlocking the power of Venus lies within ourselves? But how do you personally connect with this energy? This is where your Venus code comes in, your astrological DNA derived from your birth chart. Your Venus sign, its placement in the houses, and its aspects to other planets all provide clues about your unique relationship patterns, creative expression, and values. It's like a cosmic fingerprint revealing your individual potential. What does your fingerprint reveal about you? For example, a Venus in Gemini might indicate a love of communication, variety, and intellectual stimulation in relationships, while a Venus in Capricorn might suggest a preference for stability, tradition, and long-term commitment. Understanding your Venus code can help you identify hidden talents, overcome relationship challenges, and align with your unique spiritual path. What if the stars could guide you to your perfect match? Are you ready to decode your personal Venus blueprint? Moreover, you also have a unique Venus language. This framework allows you to build better relationships, understand individual communication traits, and build lasting rapport. Think about it: someone with Venus in Libra might communicate through diplomacy, fairness, and beauty, while a Venus in Aries might express themselves with passion, assertiveness, and directness. Do you speak the same language as your partner? Recognizing these verbal and nonverbal communication styles can transform your relationships. If you understand that someone expresses love through acts of service, while you communicate through words of affirmation, you can bridge the gap and create deeper understanding. Perhaps Venus holds the key to lasting harmony, but what if Venus's influence isn't always benevolent? What if there's a dark Venus, a shadow side to love and beauty? Imagine a Venus matrix, where Venus's energy permeates all aspects of reality, creating both harmony and discord. But this matrix could be manipulated, leading to conflict, division, and suffering. Are we living in a distorted version of the Venus matrix? And if so, how can we restore balance? Consider the potential for individuals or groups to use their understanding of Venus cycles to exploit or control others. What if someone weaponized this knowledge? Could they manipulate emotions, create division, and sow discord? Think about the rise of propaganda and misinformation in the digital age. Could these tactics be amplified by a distorted understanding of Venus's influence? Who is benefiting from our division? Perhaps Venus can manifest in negative ways, such as obsession, jealousy, and possessiveness. Have you ever experienced the dark side of love? Is it possible that not all expressions of love and beauty are genuine or benevolent? What if the most beautiful mask hides the darkest intentions? This brings us to a profound ethical dilemma. With this advanced understanding, do we risk manipulating others? And what about the rise of AI? Could AI be used to exploit these cycles on a massive scale? As we gain insight into these cycles, we must question the responsibility that comes with this knowledge. How can we safeguard against its abuse? What actions should we take to prevent societal destabilization? But let's delve even deeper. To what extent do we truly have free will if our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are influenced by Venus cycles? Are we operating under cosmic determinism? Does understanding Venus cycles empower us, or does it simply reveal the limits of our agency? Can we transcend the influence of Venus cycles, or are we forever bound to their rhythms? Are we merely puppets dancing to the tune of the cosmos? Or do we have the power to change our destiny? Geometry, in this framework, ties directly to emotional states. Think about the emotional impact of standing in a vast cathedral versus a cramped, dark room. Specific shapes may resonate with certain brainwave frequencies or emotional centers, triggering feelings of awe, peace, or anxiety. Remember, specific geometric patterns have been used throughout history to create spaces that promote healing, relaxation, or inspiration. Can architecture change your mood? We're not just individuals. We are all interconnected and influenced by the same cosmic rhythms. Individual experiences of Venus cycles are linked to collective patterns of behavior. What if collective unconscious is influenced by Venus cycles? This interconnectedness opens up the potential for collective action and social transformation. Could we align with Venus cycles to promote empathy, compassion, and understanding? But how do we transcend the limitations of the Venus matrix? Perhaps spiritual practices like meditation, yoga, or shamanism offer a path to higher consciousness. These practices can help to quiet the mind, open the heart, and connect with the source of all creation. Spiritual practices empower individuals to break free from limiting patterns and create a more fulfilling and meaningful life. If our brains can be rewired, are our destinies our own? These disparate ideas are not separate. Geometry, celestial events, and communications create a framework for navigating a new world, building stronger connections. Greater knowledge leads to a clearer state of being. Those who are tuned in have the potential to truly succeed. Emphasize the individual path and agency. You have the ability to change. Remember that this is not just about esoteric theory. This is about the integration of mind and body. By connecting neurobiological effects with practical experiences, we can foster better relationships. An integration of different approaches creates an actionable roadmap for managing your life, and the starting point is self-awareness. The knowledge of these cycles was not always available to everyone. Ancient elites understood these patterns, and they used them to maintain power. What about today? Many governments are trying to manage the flow of information, and they have their reasons. What are they trying to hide? What do they fear? We need to be aware of the risk that societies will be locked down again. We need to be prepared. We can link traditional teachings and practices to how individuals might respond during chaos. Seek balance in your lives, set goals, find your internal point of balance, because knowledge is power. Empowerment comes from action. Take your life into your hands. Make informed choices during volatile times. Don't fear chaos. Embrace the unknown. Because knowledge is your greatest protection. In our next section, we'll delve into the application of Venus's influence in daily rituals for a more clear state of being. Can small daily changes build stronger relationships? I suggest you prepare yourselves, because the path ahead requires true, fearless insight. I want you to examine myth. In particular, I want you to review Venus's influence through myth, and use myth to create success patterns in your own life. What will you discover? And finally, I challenge you to explore the different levels of understanding we've presented in this video so far. What is the link between your brain function, relationships, societal impact, and personal change? Can you synthesize this knowledge? If so, you can empower yourself. Because this information is for you, you are not alone. With increased knowledge and understanding, what new perspective can you glean? What mysteries are awaiting you? I leave you with these questions as you ponder building a better future. What if you could infuse your daily life with the harmonious energy of Venus? It's time to move from theory to practice and create actionable steps to enhance your state of being. Imagine each day as a canvas, and you're the artist, using Venusian principles as your palette. Are you ready to paint a masterpiece? Let's start with daily Venus rituals. These aren't complex ceremonies requiring hours of dedication. They are simple, intentional acts that can be woven into your routine. Think of it as a daily dose of cosmic vitamins. A short, focused meditation can work wonders. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and visualize Venus as a radiant, golden sphere of light. Imagine this light filling your heart, radiating outwards to encompass your relationships, your creative endeavors, and your entire being. What shifts do you feel as you visualize this light? Does it bring a sense of calm, joy, or inspiration? Try doing this for just 5 minutes each morning and observe how it transforms your day. Can a few moments of visualization change your entire outlook? Sound frequencies can also be powerful tools. Did you know that specific Hertz values correspond to Venus's orbit? Binaural beats tuned to Venus's synodic period, approximately 584 days, which translates to a specific frequency, can can help train your brainwaves to a more harmonious state. There are many apps and online resources that offer these frequencies. Experiment and see which ones resonate with you. Listen to these frequencies while you work, meditate, or simply relax. Can sound be the key to unlocking inner peace? What are some specific types of music that resonate with you? Geometric visualizations can further amplify Venus's energy. During your meditation, visualize a pentagon or the Venus star. This shape, sacred to many ancient cultures, represents harmony, beauty, and the divine feminine. Trace the shape with your finger or simply hold it in your mind's eye. Feel the energy of the pentagon flowing through you, balancing your emotions and enhancing your creativity. Does this ancient symbol awaken something within you? But it doesn't stop there. How do you communicate with the world? Venus-aligned communication is about fostering stronger connections through active listening, expressing appreciation, and practicing nonviolent communication. Are your words building bridges or walls? The words that you chose will shape the world you inhabit. I feel statements can be transformative. Instead of saying, "You always make me angry," try, "I feel frustrated when I'm not heard." This simple shift in language can de-escalate conflicts and create space for understanding. Can a slight change in wording alter your relationships? Remember to validate other people's feelings, even if you don't agree with their point of view. Acknowledge their emotions and show empathy. Practice active listening by summarizing and clarifying what the other person is saying. Are you truly hearing what others are saying, or just waiting for your turn to speak? Now, let's discuss how to use Venus to ignite your creative fire. What if Venus is the ultimate muse? What if the energy of Venus can be harnessed through your art, music, or dance to unlock hidden dimensions? Experiment with color palettes known to harmonize with Venus's energy: soft pastels, shimmering golds, and earthy greens. What colors evoke feelings of love, beauty, and harmony within you? Can those colors transform your art and in turn your life? If you're a musician, explore musical modes associated with Venus, such as the Lydian mode, known for its ethereal and uplifting quality. Let the melodies flow through you, expressing the beauty and joy of Venus. Can music be the doorway to your soul? If you're a dancer, connect your movements to Venus's orbital patterns, creating a dance that embodies the planet's graceful and harmonious energy. What rhythms resonate with your body and spirit? Finally, let's explore Venus-based manifestation. This is about aligning your intentions with Venus cycles to manifest love, creativity, and overall well-being. What do you truly desire to create in your life? What would you like to manifest? Create a vision board, gathering images, words, and symbols that represent your dreams. This could be a physical board or a digital one. Include images of loving relationships, creative projects, and things that bring you joy. Is it possible to attract the life you want with a vision board? Write and speak affirmations that resonate with Venus's energy. I am worthy of love. I am a creative being. I attract abundance and harmony into my life. Repeat these affirmations daily, feeling the power of Venus amplifying your intentions. Let these affirmations guide your life. What steps do you take to manifest these claims? Align your intentions with specific phases of the Venus cycle. For example, during Venus retrograde, focus on reflection, recalibration, and releasing old patterns in relationships. During Venus direct, focus on moving forward, initiating new projects, and attracting love. Can understanding the cycles increase your chance of success? But here's a crucial point. Rituals and techniques aren't magic spells. They can't guarantee specific outcomes. Don't use these activities to force or manipulate Venus's energy. It is critical to surrender to the flow of life and accept the unpredictable nature of relationships and creative endeavors. Are you clinging too tightly to control? Detachment from outcomes is key. Trust the process and have faith that everything is unfolding as it should, even if it doesn't look the way you expect. Can you find peace in uncertainty? Remember, the beauty of life lies in its mysteries. And what about the shadows? Shadow work is essential for uncovering and integrating hidden aspects within relationships. Jealousy, possessiveness, and insecurity can sabotage connections. Journaling prompts can help you explore these shadow aspects. What hidden fears are driving your behavior? Practice self-compassion and forgiveness, both for yourself and for others. Can you embrace your imperfections? Staying authentic while emulating ancient practices is a challenge. It's easy to fall into superficiality or cultural appropriation. Respect cultural traditions and avoid simply copying their way of life. What does it truly mean to honor an ancient culture? How do you show respect? Connect with the real you and maintain your individual agency. Are you being true to yourself or just playing a role? Ignoring or resisting Venus's energy has consequences. Strained relationships, creative blocks, and a sense of disconnection can result. Self-care is essential during challenging times. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. Can you prioritize your well-being, even when it's difficult? The sound frequencies we use in Venus rituals connect directly to our emotional states. Specific frequencies can stimulate the vagus nerve and promote relaxation. Binaural beats can alter your emotional state. Experiment with different frequencies and see what resonates with you. How can sound be used for your benefit? Can you use sound to heal yourself? Geometric forms, too, are linked to relationship dynamics. Pentagons represent harmony, spirals represent growth, and circles represent unity. Use these forms in your visualizations and meditations to enhance your understanding of relationship patterns. How can these forms assist with building better relationships? What shapes help or hinder connection? Mythological themes offer guidance as well. Recurring themes in myths related to love and beauty can offer insights into your own relationship patterns. Draw parallels between mythological characters and relationship archetypes. How do ancient tales relate to modern connections? Which myths reinforce unhealthy dynamics? Ultimately, it's about integrating these practices into your daily life. This holistic approach helps build a more complete and fulfilling existence. Are you ready to weave these threads into the fabric of your being? Track your inner states through journaling, meditation, and other awareness practices to monitor the effects of your rituals. Wearable technology can also assist in tracking your progress. What metrics can you use to measure your inner state? Remember, communication is a bridge to harmony. The language of harmony can build stronger connections. Strengthen your relationships by using these skills consistently. Can your words build a better world? These archetypes, moreover, provide guidance on the importance of understanding your value. These myths are about learning to be more mindful in your connections with others. What ancient wisdom can you apply to your current relationships? The cycles are required for balance. This isn't passive knowledge. It demands action with clear objectives. Are you ready to embrace beauty? Are you ready to take action? Are you ready to create a pathway to a more complete understanding? I am so glad you have come along on this journey. In our next section, we'll be delving into advanced applications through Venus and how a clearer understanding of the planet can support building healthy communities. Is this the secret sauce for societal change? And I want to leave you with some further thoughts. What if you could reflect on your relationship dynamics from the perspective of Venus and highlight personal power for creating new social dynamics? What kind of world would you create? Is this an opportunity for a global reset? And finally, can you restate the different levels of understanding that we've presented in the video? What is the role of cycles, mythology, personal change, and societal impact, and emphasis on one's capacity for action? If so, what new behaviors would you synthesize? If so, will we depend on the past to build our future? Will you explore building a world with more compassion and beauty? Will you, my friend, build this future through exploration of these mysteries? The future is not written. Now it's time to find out. What if building healthy communities is the key to unlocking a Venusian renaissance? Throughout history, certain social structures have embodied Venusian principles, creating pockets of harmony, beauty, and balance. Could studying these structures hold the key to designing a more compassionate future? Are you ready to explore societies where cooperation and beauty reign supreme? Consider the ancient Minoan civilization on Crete. While shrouded in mystery, archaeological evidence suggests a society that valued art, nature, and peaceful coexistence. Their palaces were adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting scenes of daily life, religious rituals, and nature, not of war or conquest. There was an emphasis on aesthetics in daily life. Their society appears to have been matriarchal or at least egalitarian, with women holding positions of power and influence. Does their art and culture point to a society that prioritized beauty and harmony? Can their society be a role model for today? Fast forward to the present, and we see intentional communities and co-housing projects sprouting up around the globe. These are modern-day experiments in Venusian living, where people consciously choose to live together based on shared values like sustainability, cooperation, and shared resources. Ecovillages, for example, often prioritize environmental stewardship, permaculture, and communal initiatives. Residents share resources, participate in decision-making processes, and support each other's well-being. Do these communities offer a glimpse into a more sustainable and harmonious future? What can we learn from their successes and failures? What can we learn from the challenges they face? Furthermore, look at collaborative governance models, where decision-making power is distributed among members, emphasizing consensus building, empathy, and inclusivity. Sociocracy, for example, is a governance system based on self-organization, consent, and continuous improvement. Decisions are made in small, autonomous circles, with members working together to find solutions that meet everyone's needs. Does this approach foster a greater sense of ownership and responsibility? Can this structure build towards peace and better understanding? Now, imagine a world where these Venusian principles were scaled up and integrated into all aspects of life. What would a Venus-inspired political system look like? It might prioritize diplomacy, cooperation, and social justice. Resources would be allocated to social programs that support the well-being of all citizens. International relations would be based on mutual respect and understanding. Think of the Nordic countries, known for their strong social safety nets, high levels of equality, and commitment to environmental sustainability. Are these nations pointing to a new and better world? Can their example be applied elsewhere? A Venus-inspired economy might emphasize sustainability, ethical consumption, and fair distribution of resources. Companies would prioritize social and environmental responsibility over profit maximization. Workers would be treated with respect and paid fair wages. Consumers would make informed choices that support sustainable and ethical practices. A compassionate healthcare system might focus on preventative care, holistic healing modalities, and patient empowerment. The arts and humanities would be supported to encourage personal growth and societal unity. Can this new focus offer a healthier society? How can we build these resonant communities in practice? It starts with identifying and articulating shared values that resonate with Venusian principles: love, beauty, harmony, balance, and creativity. These values can serve as a guiding compass for community members, helping them make decisions and resolve conflicts in a way that aligns with their collective vision. This value system must be clearly articulated and widely understood. What values would your community prioritize? How can these principles be translated into concrete actions? Establishing effective communication channels is crucial for fostering trust, understanding, and collaboration within communities. This means creating spaces for open dialogue, active listening, and nonviolent communication. Regular community meetings, online forums, and one-on-one conversations can all contribute to a more connected and supportive environment. The emphasis should be on listening to understand rather than listening to respond. How can we create a safe space for all voices to be heard? But let's be honest, implementing Venusian principles at a societal level won't be easy. These values may challenge existing power structures and entrenched interests. Corporations, governments, and even religious organizations might resist a Venus-inspired transformation of society. They might use propaganda, misinformation, or even violence to suppress Venusian values. Are you ready to face the opposition? How will you protect yourself and your community from harm? there's also the potential shadow side of community to consider. Groupthink, conformity, and the suppression of individual expression can all undermine the very values that Venusian communities seek to uphold. How can we create communities that honor both unity and diversity? Is complete harmony even possible or even desirable? What if a Venice-based society devolved into a dystopian state of enforced conformity and the suppression of individual freedom? History is filled with examples of utopian communities that ultimately failed due to internal conflicts, power struggles, or external pressures. The Shakers, for example, were a religious community in 19th century America that practiced communal living, celibacy, and pacifism. While they initially thrived, their strict rules and emphasis on conformity ultimately led to their decline. How can we learn from these past failures? Perhaps the key lies in embracing harmonious chaos, a balance between order and freedom. A society that values both individual expression and collective harmony, allowing for creativity, spontaneity, and even disagreement. Recognizing conflict can be a catalyst for growth and change. Are you ready to embrace the messiness of life? Can you find beauty in the imperfection? Consider, also, the potential for societal collapse if this knowledge is only used by the elite for exploitation. The importance of ethical application becomes paramount. What can the average person do to prevent the manipulation of Venusian principles? What if those with ill intent obtain this information? How can we mitigate the risks of societal destruction? Linking specific geometric forms to corresponding social structures is essential to achieve a state of balance. Circles representing equality and shared resources can create a more democratic and inclusive environment. Spirals representing growth and transformation can foster a culture of innovation and adaptation. Pentagons representing stability and harmony can create a solid foundation for community resilience. Each form must correspond to a social structure. How can we apply these geometric principles to build stronger communities? Certain communication styles may be more conducive to collaboration, consensus building, and democratic participation. Active listening can empower direct democracy. Empathy can enable collaborative decision-making. Nonviolent communication practices can lead to peaceful conflict resolution. It's not just what is said, but how it's spoken that matters. By exploring mythological narratives of both utopian and dystopian societies shaped by love, beauty, and chaos, we can better understand the potential outcomes of prioritizing or neglecting Venusian values. These ancient texts offer a framework for understanding the cyclical nature of history and the choices we face today. Which outcomes should we strive to avoid? Ultimately, the Venus Code and Venus language support the development of resilient social bonds, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of strength and stability. Resilient social bonds are characterized by trust, reciprocity, and a shared sense of purpose. Individual action is crucial for maintaining the stability of a community. How can we strengthen these bonds and create a more resilient society? Understanding Venus cycles is essential for building healthy communities and implementing practical actions to nurture their growth and resilience. Practical knowledge offers strength. Knowledge of the cycle and a plan to work within it is power. Action is power. Connecting individual growth and self-awareness to the collective good is critical, and personal transformation is essential for creating a more harmonious and just society. Healing yourself heals the world. The planet is a reflection of individual growth. Personal action matters. We must bridge ancient wisdom with modern challenges by demonstrating how Venusian principles can be applied to address contemporary issues such as economic inequality, social division, and environmental degradation. Economic inequality can be resolved with collective action. Social division can be resolved with empathy. Environmental degradation can be addressed with community. Remember, the power to create a more beautiful and harmonious world lies within each individual. Action starts at an individual level. Start within your own families and communities. In our next video, we'll explore how Venus influences world events and power structures. Is there a group that benefits by creating disorder in societies? What if those in power benefit by suppressing these secrets? What an amazing journey this is, that all started with understanding the importance of Venus. I hope you are able to synthesize all the information presented in this series in order to create your own roadmap. I challenge you to discuss with your social group and create action plans, because action drives results. Synthesizing new behaviors with information is a trigger for new levels of experience. Remember, this is a journey of self-discovery. Explore the potential for increased knowledge, understanding, and new modes of action, which will empower groups to connect, communicate, and act. It all depends on those who are willing to act. What mysteries can action unlock? But be warned, even the most beautiful of ideals can be corrupted. What if the very principles of love, beauty, and harmony, the Venusian values we've been exploring, could be twisted and used for nefarious purposes? Have you considered the possibility that those seeking power might co-opt these values, creating a deceptive facade of benevolence to mask their true intentions? Imagine a regime that constantly promotes images of happy families, idyllic landscapes, and heartwarming community events. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? But what if these idealized images are used to distract from oppressive policies, environmental destruction, or social injustice? This is the Venusian facade in action. The idealized imagery is a smokescreen, a way to lull the public into a false sense of security while the regime consolidates its power. Think of historical examples like Nazi Germany, where idealized images of Aryan families and heroic soldiers were used to promote a twisted ideology of racial purity and justify horrific acts of violence. Or consider the Soviet Union, where propaganda posters celebrated the workers' paradise, while millions suffered under a totalitarian regime. Are you ready to handle who or what might be watching you? And what about the cycles of economic control? Could those in power exploit their knowledge of Venus cycles to manipulate economic systems, creating artificial booms and busts that benefit a select few? It's a chilling thought, but not outside the realm of possibility. Imagine that a powerful cabal understands how Venus's transits and retrogrades influence market sentiment. They could use this knowledge to predict market fluctuations, profiting handsomely while ordinary investors lose their savings. Even worse, they could deliberately create or exacerbate economic crises, triggering market crashes that allow them to buy up assets at rock-bottom prices, further concentrating wealth and power in their hands. Consider the 2008 financial crisis. While there were many contributing factors, what if hidden knowledge of celestial cycles played a role in the timing and severity of the crash? Are we just pawns in a much bigger game? Consider how Venusian symbols, archetypes, and emotional appeals can be used in propaganda and social engineering campaigns. Advertising is one of the most obvious examples. Think about the countless commercials that use images of romantic relationships, idealized families, and beautiful landscapes to sell products. These images aren't just about showcasing the product, they're about creating an emotional connection with the consumer, tapping into their desires for love, happiness, and belonging. Political messaging often employs similar tactics. Politicians might present themselves as charismatic leaders, nurturing mothers, or champions of love and peace, all Venusian archetypes designed to resonate with voters on an emotional level. These appeals bypass critical thinking, operating on a subconscious level. Look at the Make America Great Again campaign. It tugged at the heartstrings by appealing to a nostalgic vision of the past, one where traditional values and national pride reigned supreme. Is that really the truth, or is it just manipulating emotions to achieve political goals? This is why critical thinking and media literacy are more important than ever. We must be vigilant about questioning the information we receive, especially when it appeals to our emotions. What are the sources' motives? What biases might be at play? Are there alternative perspectives that are being ignored? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves constantly. One actionable step is to consciously seek out diverse sources of information, challenging our own confirmation bias. Read news from different perspectives, engage with people who hold opposing views, and be willing to change our minds when presented with new evidence. It's essential to become aware of motives and critical to become mindful of actions. How can this support a stable society? But what if this manipulation isn't just happening on the surface? What if there's a hidden, great game being played by global elites who secretly track and exploit Venus cycles to advance their own interests, manipulating entire populations for power and profit? It's a chilling thought, but is it really that far-fetched? What if the elite are actively trying to suppress this knowledge from the public, keeping us in the dark about the true nature of reality? Are we just pawns in a cosmic game, manipulated by forces we can't even comprehend? Who benefits from keeping us in the dark? This is where things get really uncomfortable. Venusian principles can be twisted into tools for deception and control, creating a world where love, beauty, and harmony are used to manipulate and exploit others. Consider the potential for gaslighting and other forms of emotional manipulation to be disguised as acts of love or kindness. A manipulative partner might shower their victim with affection and praise one moment, only to tear them down with criticism and insults the next. This creates a state of confusion and dependence, making it difficult for the victim to trust their own judgment. Advertising could be a form of mass manipulation, normalizing body images. When is love not love? Given all this, do individuals truly have free will if their decisions are being influenced by forces they are not even aware of? Are we really in control of our lives, or are we just puppets dancing on strings pulled by unseen manipulators? How can we take back our power, break free from the matrix, and reclaim our agency? The answer, I believe, lies in taking responsibility for our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. This means cultivating critical thinking skills, practicing discernment, and developing conscious awareness. We must be willing to question everything, to challenge the status quo, and to resist the temptation to blindly follow the crowd. Emphasize the importance of individual action, because responsibility is the key to freedom. Understanding motives is paramount. So how do these patterns manifest in the real world? The repeating economic cycles of boom and bust can be connected to specific Venus alignments, demonstrating how these patterns may be deliberately engineered to benefit those in power. If boom and bust cycles are predictable, who profits? What can be done to break free from these patterns, and are we doomed to repeat these cycles forever? Propaganda techniques and Venusian archetypes are also closely linked. These archetypes can be used to bypass critical thinking and manipulate emotions, triggering emotional responses that influence our behavior without our conscious awareness. How do these archetypes trigger emotional responses? Are there ways to counteract these techniques, and how can we become more aware of these patterns? History is filled with examples of Venusian values being used to justify manipulation or control, showing that this is not a new phenomenon. Are there common themes throughout history? Are we making the same mistakes, and how can we learn from the past? Knowledge offers the capacity to create resilience and action in an unstable environment. That provides strength to others. Emphasize the importance of critical thought and the need to become responsible. What are the action steps people can take? It is essential to become aware of motives, and it is critical to become mindful of actions. It is crucial to link modern chaos with techniques for navigating and understanding past actions. Emphasize individual effort to change, and emphasize how communities will benefit. All this can start with you. Bridge knowing the cycles to actions for change by underscoring how knowledge creates opportunities for navigating changing times. What steps are required for understanding, and emphasize the value of building community and taking action. Evaluate current conditions. What mysteries can action unlock? In our next video, we'll delve even deeper, exploring advanced techniques for predicting social trends and influencing collective behavior using Venus cycles. Is it possible to see the future? Can we change the course of history? So, what have we discovered? Ancient temples weren't just places of worship. They were sophisticated instruments, carefully designed to align with and harness the cycles of Venus. Think of them as astronomical observatories, energetic resonators, and conduits of information, all working in harmony to predict periods of chaos and guide humanity toward balance. These sites were multifaceted, serving as predictors and mitigating devices for periods of unrest, with deep connections to human beings and society. The ancients understood that Venus wasn't just about love and beauty. It was a key indicator of change, a celestial guide that could help them navigate the turbulent waters of existence. But what happens when we disregard this knowledge? Look at the architecture, the mythology, and the astrological cycles. What do they have in common? They are all interwoven, reflecting a holistic understanding of Venus's influence. Geometric forms like pentagons and spirals mirrored Venus's orbit and societal organization. Mythological archetypes embodied recurring emotional and behavioral patterns. Historical events correlated with Venus cycles, revealing patterns of societal change. It's as if these patterns are whispers from the universe, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. These are reflections of the divine chaos, the understanding that within apparent randomness lies an underlying order. Why did ancient civilizations dedicate so much time and effort to aligning temples with Venus? It wasn't just about worshipping a deity. It was about understanding the universe and their place within it. Venus was the key to unlocking the cycles of chaos and order, revealing the intricate dance between darkness and light. The ancients understood their connection to the natural order. Understanding that, humans can embody this connection. This transforms Venus from a distant planet into a deeply interconnected force, influencing human consciousness and societal dynamics, and placing personal accountability squarely on our shoulders. By embracing the Venus blueprint, individuals can unlock their own Venus code and create a better world through conscious action. Ancient civilizations weren't primitive. They possessed sophisticated and accurate wisdom, knowledge that we can use to face the crises of our modern world. The cyclical patterns aren't simply about the movement of a planet, but demonstrate an intricate dance between chaos and order, offering insight into navigating life's unpredictable changes. The chaos creates the framework for order, revealing a plan within the randomness of events. This provides the capacity to transform, to rise above the challenges and create something new. Each person can start this exploration today. Societal structures have already used knowledge of Venus to consolidate power. Rediscovering Venus wisdom can challenge these existing power structures and inspire new forms of social organization, prioritizing harmony, balance, and ethical responsibility. Rather than allowing it to concentrate authority, change course, and use it to liberate ourselves. Communities must be built through compassion and action. A conscious expansion comes from knowledge and initiative, leading to maintained equilibrium. The shift must come from each one of us, from each conscious decision to embrace love, beauty, and truth. Temples were built to understand cycles, but power structures can be used to exploit them. The patterns were meant to be understood, not manipulated. By embodying this change, individuals can empower others, creating a ripple effect that transforms society from the ground up. Harmony and balance are the keys to unlock this potential. Beauty has meaning and provides connection. Love is the force that triggers transformation, the catalyst that can break us free from the chains of manipulation and control. It emphasizes that knowledge offers the capacity to create resilience and encourage action. By embracing responsibility, everyone gains freedom. Evaluate current conditions. As we become conscious participants in the unfolding cosmic dance, harmony and balance unlock potential. Beauty provides meaning and connection. Love triggers transformation. As you become one with these patterns and this knowledge, free will is possible through conscious choice. Ethical responsibility requires active engagement. Societal transformation happens when people choose to be a part of it. The rediscovery of Venus isn't just about understanding the past, it's about shaping the future. Take initiative. But remember, those in power don't want you to embrace these energies. They want to keep you in the dark, to maintain their control. But knowledge is power. Spread this understanding to the world and your community. Start conversations, share this video, and empower others to take responsibility for their own lives and for the future of humanity. It all begins with each one of us, with each conscious choice to embrace the power of Venus and the wisdom of the ancients. Now, I pose a new question. Can AI be used to support conscious action, amplifying our ability to understand and align with natural cycles? What will be the long-term impact of technology on these cycles, and how can we ensure that it serves humanity rather than enslaving it? What are the ethical implications of using Venus wisdom to design social systems? How can we create frameworks for equitable access to this information, ensuring that it benefits all of humanity, not just a select few? What is the next mystery to unlock? What new connections are possible? I invite you to share your insights, experiences, and questions in the comments below. And if you're ready to join in the ongoing exploration of Venus, ancient wisdom, and the future of humanity, subscribe to our channel. Together, we can unlock the transformative power of this knowledge, build community, and play an active role in creating a new and better society. Is it possible? I believe it is. Thank you for joining me on this